Woman ran away from abusive husband. He shows up with cops at her doorstep months later. After arguing with her husband daily, a woman decided to leave the house the day she was fired from her job. She wanted to teach the man a lesson, but what he did a few months later was something she had never expected. Whenever my friends used to show me the gifts their partners got for them, I couldn't help but envy those girls. I yearned for the relationship they shared with their partners because things between my husband and I were going downhill. Although I married Peter out of my own choice, I sometimes regret accepting his proposal. I thought most married couples argued over little things, but our daily quarrels drained my energy. He wanted me to cook and clean before he returned home from work, and if I didn't, he would scream at the top of his lungs. I felt like he was treating me like a maid, but I kept obeying his commands until the day I couldn't take it anymore. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. "Where's my dinner, Catherine?" Peter shouted while sitting at the dining table. I was looking at my reflection in the bathroom mirror when I heard his voice. I quickly splashed water on my face to wash away the dried teardrops and headed toward the kitchen. "Oh, hi, Peter. You came home early today, didn't you?" I asked while trying not to make eye contact with him. "Yeah, my manager allowed me to go home early today," Peter replied. "I thought you wouldn't be home, but I saw your shoes by the doorstep. Anyway, I'm hungry. What's for dinner?" "I didn't cook anything today," I said. "There's something I want to tell you, honey. I came home early today because my boss fired me." I didn't want to cry in front of Peter, but I couldn't hold my tears back. I was so happy with my new job, but the constant quarrels with Peter had disturbed me. The stress I took to my workplace from home had affected my performance. "So what? Does that mean you will stop cooking dinner for me?" Peter hit his clenched fists on our wooden dining table. "I don't care if you lost your job. I want my house clean and my dinner on this table. Do you understand?" I had never imagined my husband could be so insensitive. He was nothing like the man I had married 10 years ago. The Peter I fell in love with was so caring and couldn't see me crying. I wonder what made him change so much. I expected Peter to console me after I told him my boss had fired me, but he didn't care. Does he think I am his maid? I wondered. I couldn't live like this anymore. "I'm not cooking anything tonight," I said and barged out of the kitchen. A few minutes later, I heard Peter leave the house and drive away. At that moment, I decided I wouldn't live with him anymore. The next day, I woke up after Peter left for work. I had a plan in mind to teach him a lesson for how he made me feel during the past few years. After having breakfast, I opened my wardrobe and began packing my clothes. I decided to run away. While packing, I almost forgot to take the most valuable item, the jewelry Peter gifted me. I kept it in my handbag and left a note for my husband before leaving. It took me about 8 hours to reach the city I planned to live in. Since I didn't have enough savings to rent a studio apartment, I had to sell some of the jewelry. A few hours later, I sat peacefully inside my newly rented space. By this time, I was sure Peter must have read my note. I picked up my phone to see if I had missed any calls from him, but there were no notifications. He must be thinking I'll return home late at night, I thought and closed my eyes. The following day, I woke up and rechecked my phone, but there was no sign of any texts or calls from Peter. I expected him to come after me, but he didn't even want to know where I was. Does he not love me? I wondered. After preparing breakfast for myself from the limited grocery items I purchased last night, I stepped outside to find a job. Luckily, a neighborhood cafe offered me a job as a waitress, and I accepted it because I had to work to survive in this new city. During the first week at work, I found a note near my handbag that read, "Hi, Catherine. I am in love with your smile. Your secret admirer." After that day, I kept receiving such notes, but I couldn't figure out who was writing them. I had no idea if it was one of my coworkers or a customer. To be honest, I wasn't interested in knowing who it was because I was still a married woman. I was Peter's wife. Months after I ran away from my house, a team of cops barged into the cafe while I was at work. Suddenly, Peter emerged from behind them and looked me in the eyes. "This is my wife, sir. She stole my jewelry," Peter shouted while pointing his finger at me. I could feel the heat in my cheeks as my face flushed red. I had no idea Peter would show up at my workplace unannounced, and that too with a team of police officers. "What do you want?" Simon, the cafe manager, asked. "I want her to return my jewelry," Peter replied. "How much is it worth?" "I can pay you back," Simon said. At first, I couldn't understand why Simon offered to pay on my behalf. I was friends with him, but we weren't so close that he would do such a huge favor for me. After Peter left the cafe, I asked Simon why he paid my husband, and his reply was something I wasn't expecting. He told me he was my secret admirer and was leaving those notes near my handbag. "I fell in love with you the first day I saw you, Catherine," Simon confessed. I felt butterflies in my stomach after hearing those words. The last time I heard a man express his love for me was years ago, and Simon's confession made me feel very special. After spending a few weeks with Simon, I decided to marry him and told Peter I was filing for divorce. Simon helped me get the best lawyer in town for this purpose, and the next time I saw Peter was days later in court. Besides filing for divorce, I also sued Peter for half of our house because of the embarrassment I faced the day he barged into my workplace with the cops. I would have let him have our entire property, but his last move made me retaliate. Eventually, I married Simon after my divorce from Peter was finalized, and I couldn't have found a better husband than my manager. He never demands me to cook food for him or clean his house. Instead, he helps me with the chores and offers to cook dinner every night. What can we learn from this story? Never mistreat your family members. What made Catherine leave her home was the way Peter treated her. She felt like a maid in his house, and her emotional needs were never fulfilled. Know your worth and never allow people to make you feel unloved. Catherine left her home because she knew her worth and thought Peter never valued her. Always remember to stand up for yourself before it's too late.